Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our final review of Become the Hunter by Suicide Silence. So after listening to this album for an entire week, Vile, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I enjoyed this album quite a lot throughout the week. Didn't get bored of it, listened to it a lot. I got some stuff to say. Alright, that was weird. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. Okay. A lot of stuff I liked about this album, okay? There's a lot of things happening. I feel like Suicide Silence has reached back their core sound that everybody loved. They kind of lost it for a while. New singer, all that stuff. Family issues, blah, blah, blah. They are back. I can say that with confidence. They're back. Now, I want to just say this before I get into too much stuff. One of our listeners or one of our viewers said that Alex actually didn't drum on this album. It was actually a guest drummer because Alex had some family issues or something like that. I didn't look to see if that was true or not, but either way, somebody else is doing the drumming on this album, and I think it's great.
Yeah, whoever that was, they did a great job.
Yeah, I think they do a phenomenal job. I mean, it's not like super technically impressive, but they hit the right marks. And the style suits the music, and the rolls are in the right places. There's a little bit of flair here and there. It goes hard, you know, it does all the right things for me. Some songs that spoke to me, okay? Two Steps and Feel Alive, the two singles that they released, really jump out at me. And I kind of understand why they were singles, because I think even the band thinks they're the strongest songs on the album. So those two songs, instantly on the playlist, awesome things. Feel Alive for me is just, overall, it's just a totally brutal song. Like, I just listen to it and I just feel like murdering someone. Like, it just evokes that brutal feeling.
Makes you feel alive.
Makes you feel alive, right? Two Steps is a song that when I first heard it, I was kind of like, whatever. But then I listened to it a few more times and I was like, yeah, this song actually like goes hard. And one of my favorite things about this song is, it might be a double vocal from Eddie, but maybe there's a background vocal, I'm not sure, from one of the other band members, but during the chorus, when he's singing the chorus, there's like this background guy screaming something. I don't even know what he's saying, but I love that. It's a little thing. Love it. Sounds so cool. And then there's two other songs that really grab my attention, and they grab my attention for the exact same reason, which is almost a flaw. And that is Love Me to Death and The Scythe. Now, the thing that grabbed me with these two songs is the riff. But the thing is that both songs have a very similar riff. And the thing I like about the riff is they do this thing where, like, kind of like in Love Me to Death, for example, the song starts off with a couple like hard notes and stuff like that. And then there's a bit of an intro part. And then the riff kind of starts and it's almost like a warning of what's coming. And then the riff kind of just continues on through the verses. I really like that style. I've heard it in other songs before. I really like when bands do that. It's something that just appeals to me. The Scythe does the exact same thing, and the riff's almost the exact same riff. I mean, obviously it's very slightly, but it's very similar. But the style of riff really appeals to me. It's almost this like alarming kind of like something bad is coming kind of thing. Like you better get to safety because something's coming through that door, right? Something's coming from around that corner. You better run now, because that's the kind of feeling I get from it. And I think that's awesome that the music can make you picture something in your head and get a feeling like of some sense of urgency, right? Even though you just listen to the music, it's like, oh my god, like I feel like there's an ambulance behind me needing to squeeze by when I'm driving, and I gotta pull over to the side of the road to let the ambulance pass, or something like that. So I think that's really cool that they can, you know, make me think stuff like that. So I don't know, man. Just those are a few of the things that were really gravitating me towards those certain songs. The rest of the songs, the ones I didn't name pretty much, kind of just all kind of mashed together to me. I didn't really see anything or hear anything that really spoke to me about any other songs. They weren't bad, but they were all kind of just there. So that's it for me for now. Go ahead and
Alright.
What do you think?
Well, for me, this album was honestly great. Like, I really enjoyed it throughout the entire week. And it was one of those albums where some songs started to slowly pop out at me as it went. Now, songs like Two Steps and Skin Tight which I commented last week that I loved those songs in our first impression. I still love them, but the Scythe, for example, I think that song's amazing. I love the riff for similar reasons that you already explained. Doesn't really paint that much of a picture in my head, but I still do really like how wavering it feels and how, I guess, quote unquote uncomfortable, if that makes any sense. And one of the things I love about that song is the bridge, actually, in the solo section. I love the guitar in the background. I just love the texture of that sound. I don't know what pedal they're using, but whatever it is, I like it. And the solo on that song is so cool. And you know, lots of people will be like, oh, this is deathcore, it's gotta have shreddy solos, da-da-da-da-da. But this song doesn't have that. It has a lot more of a spread out solo. You're not throwing in a bunch of notes in there, but he's just kind of running up and down the chromatic scale, and I love that. It's like a spider just crawling around. That's the picture that was painted in my head from that solo, and every time I heard it, I fucking loved it. Every single time. It was so cool. And this album, from listening to it, I feel like this band had a lot of fun with it. With moments like that solo, I feel like are sprinkled throughout this album. It really feels like the band had a good time putting it together. And that creativeness reminds me of the creativeness they had on the Black Crown. Because I believe we mentioned last week that this album kind of sounds like a mishmash of all the Mitch Lucker era stuff. Like it had elements from those 3 albums in here. One of the main ones was Eddie's voice, which is still amazing 1 week later. His vocal performance is awesome. Loved it. Totally good.
I agree.
Another song I really liked is Serena Obscene. I think I did talk about this last week. The riff, not overly complex, but still just nasty and mean. Honestly, the riffing on this album does so much for it. In Hiding has a sick riff as well. Feel Alive was great. Love Me to Death is super cool. I like the title track. I think when we talked about the title track last week, we mentioned, oh, it's kind of whatever except for the breakdown, but when I put it on shuffle and that song would come on first, it was a really brutal, hard-hitting song. And I think the only issue is that because it's the last song, you're kind of spent on everything else already, so by the time you get there, it's just like, oh, yeah, what's next? But if you actually go into that song fresh, it's pretty wild, especially the breakdown at the end. It's nuts.
Well, that's the song with the guest appearance from Darius Tehrani from Spite. And there's actually some really cool vocal layering in that song because both vocalists are kind of singing at the same time. So I thought that was pretty cool too. That was one of the highlights of that song for me.
This is one of those albums where some songs it's hard for me to speak of because a lot of it did kind of mash together, but in a good way. I didn't feel like, oh, it just all sounds the same. I felt that everything kind of sounded cool. It was just some things were popping out a little bit more than others. But overall, like I was really enjoying this album. Like every time I put it on, I had a good time.
You want to rate it?
I guess so. So this album was totally good, front to back. I really enjoyed it, and I think this is a great return to form for the band. Gets my toe tag, because this album is just totally awesome from front to back. Like a really good album.
Cool. This is hard. This is really hard because, okay, this is where my mind is right now. 11 songs, okay? 4 of them I like. The rest of them are not meh, but they're just okay there. Is 4 out of 11 songs worth a toe tag? Off the bat, I'd say no. But then I gotta think, I still really like it. But when we judge albums on this channel, we're trying not to judge with our own opinions. We're trying to judge the album objectively as possible. So it's all subjective, but I can at least name things on 4 songs that I like, different elements of those songs that I thought were cool and I can present to you guys as viewers. Can I do that for the rest of the songs? No. So in my head, the way that means logically, and I'm blabbing here, but I really want to give it a toe tag because I feel like it deserves one, but I feel like that's just my own personal opinion that feels that way. Does that make sense? I don't feel like it's a real toe tag album. I feel like I just want it to be one because I love this band. You know what I mean? So with that said, I have to give it like a 7.5. Because honestly, I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there. I'm sorry. TV fans, I am sorry. I don't think it's there. If it was 1 or 2 more songs that spoke to me, I would have been like, yes, there you go. right? At least half the album, I would have been like, sure. But if over half the album kind of falls a little bit on the flat side, how do I give that a toe tag? I mean, it's strong, it's good throughout, but it just doesn't have that element of special enough of it for me to say this is a toe tag album. I'm sorry, man. And I struggled with this all week, and I was hoping you weren't gonna give it a toe tag, so I didn't feel like an awkward dick. But I cannot waver. I can't just boost my score up just because you did. I'm really sorry, I can't do it. 7.5 for me.
I kind of decided early on this week that this kind of met my personal criteria for toe tag.
Like I said, personally, I think it does. But I'm trying not to judge it with my personal bias. I mean, I think that's unfair.
Even outside of that, I think this band, like, you consider the last album being, like, bad, and this album is like, wow, not only did they come back, it's a return to form, and they're taking elements of what people loved of this band. Like, it's just a perfect, like, reforging. Like, this is, like, the true comeback for Suicide Silence, which is a big part of why I think it deserves a toe tag.
Yeah, I know, this is probably the hardest score I've ever given, though. Honestly, I'm torn. I'm really torn. But I feel like I just can't justify it. If I'm gonna pitch it, I gotta justify it. I can't sell you 4 songs and expect the whole album to be great. Like, I'm sorry, man.
Fortunate as it is, a toe tag for me, but a 7.5 from Vile Self. It was 0.5 away from making your list of 2 toe tag albums. But that doesn't mean it's a bad album. It's still a sick album.
Still solid.
7.5 and a toe tag. You guys gotta check it out regardless. Anyway, that's all we got for you guys today. Remember to like the video if you like it. Comment, tell us in the comments below. Would you give it a 7.5 or would you give it a toe tag? We'd love to know if you guys think this is a really good return to form for the band. Remember to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel and check out our Spotify playlist in the description below. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
And we'll see you guys later.